Hello. Hey, everyone. Sonia, Jonas, Dean, Derek. Thank you for being the early joiners. We'll just wait for like 1 minute or 2 minutes just to make sure that everyone is joining. And then we will start right away. Hey, Alvaro. Good to see you again. This is Anas, by the way. I do the sales part and the product onboarding in user guiding. And we will be having a webinar today about the real implementation, the practical implementation of user guiding. So in some of our webinars, we just talk about the importance of user onboarding and the product adoption. And in some events, we do some practical examples. So in this one, we will have some practical examples and showcases. First, we will start with a simple presentation for like 10 or 15 minutes about the things that you need to do before building your onboarding strategy. And then we will directly start showing how does that work. Can you guys tell me where you are joining us from this webinar? I'm talking currently from Istanbul, Turkey. Just curious to see how global we made it. And after 1 minute, we will directly start. Germany. Hey, Jonas. Toronto. Hey, Audrey. Germany. To Germany. Nice. Spain. Cool. Spain, US. Amazing. So, okay, we are covering at least 3 continents. Hey, Altai from Istanbul, neighborhood. Okay, I will share a poll. Let's start with that. So you can tell me where are you in your journey with user guiding, just to make, get an insight about where are you? Are you just curious to know what user onboarding? Are you on a trial? Are you trying to see if there is a fit? It will be great if you answer the question. So I shared it, and we can start right away. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you a presentation that it's one of my most successful presentations before, about the experience that I created. I managed to create an intensive experience where I covered the creating some guides, some hotspots, and also the checklist with utilizing the segmentation with a prior of a presentation about, to give you just an introduction to user onboarding, because I can see from the poll right now that there's a lot of you that are just want to know about if there is a fit, or want to know more about user onboarding to see if this is something can helpful or not. So I'll be sharing my screen. I will be live here with you, checking your questions. Please share if you have any questions, because I will be checking them and answering them. And also I will be pushing the polls live, and I might also pause the presentation and also just jump to again to answer the questions or to have a discussion. So this is how we are going to do it. We'll share the results with you of the poll, so you can also see how we are doing. And I think we can start. We are already 4 minutes. So if anyone can join us later, we will be sharing the records anyway. And here we go. Let's share the screen and jump right on. It's going to be fun because you will see it live. And this is what I get most of the questions, like, I want to see this experience live. So here you'll get the chance to see it live. And I will be here with you, giving some comments and checking, sorry, your questions. Let's go. And yeah, I will share my screen, and we can start with a simple presentation, because we promised that this is going to be more a practical session, or more a practical webinar, where we actually show you how the experience will look like. And I will be checking your questions. So please keep sharing anything that comes to your mind within the chat. I will be checking, and so it will help also our discussions, and I will be asking some questions also, so we can, make it more interactive. I will start by talking. So our webinar today will be about your personalized user onboarding content from zero to live. And we did a webinar actually a couple of weeks ago where we talked about the product adoption in general and the the necessity of user onboarding, especially in the in new SaaS business. But today we said like we want to make it more interactive. So we will build the journey together, because I got a lot like sometimes when we are making the calls and when we have a trial users or people who even like looking to see if there is a fit, which we have like a couple of them now, as I see from the poll, they believe in the value. So they see that this is something important, but they find sometimes some hard times picturing how that will look like, or how is that journey built, and how they can customize the journey for their needs. So that's what we are going to do today. And I will start with a simple preface, theoretical preface, and then we will jump directly to the practical part. This graph tells us about the retention. So the topic of the user onboarding is very related to the topic of retention, because we are talking about the first days or the first impressions that users are taking with your product, their first sessions. And as you can see, this graph tells us something very clear, is that in the first week, we are starting with 100%, right? Users in their first sessions. And in the first week, more than 70% of those users are actually never showing up again, just after the first week. And the reason for that, there can be actually many reasons. We can't say there is only one reason. But definitely one of the reasons of that is that they haven't seen a value, right? They haven't seen about, maybe there is a value, but they haven't seen a value that can actually serve their needs. Or I'm saying that there might be a value because there might be actually a value that solves their problem, but they couldn't access that value. And here we come to the topic of what kind of experience they faced with your product and what kind of onboarding you provided to them. Is like one of your main missions when you have a product and when you create your experience is to be able to deliver them that value that you can drag them and keep them, retain them with you, so they can be actually paying customers. So here, very clearly and very simply, here comes the importance of the onboarding process. It's like we are trying to guide them, to tell them what we provide directly and taking them into action. So directly giving them some action points that they can interact with and ending that up with a target, with a value that they will see, I will visit this product once more because I got something that I like to have, right? It's helping. And as you see, if we can check this graph again, the first week is the most important one. So in the next weeks, like in the second and the third and the fourth week, there is some kind of, it's going decreasing, but it's not as aggressive as the first week. So again, this emphasizes more the importance of onboarding because it happens more in the first sessions, in the first impressions, in the first interaction with your users. And if you can keep them for the first week, it would be easier for you to retain them in the second and third week. And after the for the fourth week, of course, it's going to be much easier for you to keep them as actually paying customers, which also the graph tells us again. Now, turn those from your users from discoverers into fans again. So you have your visitors. They can be different user personas. They can be with different interests. Either they're trying to see if there's a fit, they're trial users, probably subscribers, because we also say that the onboarding is a continuous process, and you want to turn them into fans, from discoverers into fans, by providing the value as fast as possible. And the new way here of onboarding and we all use those materials. I used to say that before. We use the knowledge bases and we use the video tutorials, and they have their own roles in terms of the user journey to give them some information. But when we talk about the onboarding, the first sessions, the building the trust with your users, we're talking about we need something more interactive. We need something more practical, so users can actually take actions and use the product in a more efficient way. So in addition to the educative, because the educative can play a role more in understanding the technical or more the detailed part of your product, but understanding the structure of how your product works and how the value is delivered and how fast they can get value from it, this is all needs an interactive methods of onboarding, and here where it comes the product adoption platforms, or the digital adoption platforms, or the user onboarding platforms. Now, I don't want to dive too much into the theoretical part, as I mentioned, but I would like to give just a preface about the characteristics of a good user onboarding. Then this will give you a good understanding. So when we start building the onboarding journey, we will try to apply those conditions. And hopefully when we merge these two, theoretical and practical part, you will go out with better understanding so you can apply that for your products yourselves. One of the main things that I was thinking to start actually with something a bit more detailed, but I thought actually it's more important before doing anything to work on your onboarding strategy. So think what your platform does, what's the targets that it provides, what's the values that it provides. Is it one thing? Like, for example, is it like, let's say, food delivery platform. So people make orders, food is delivered, and that's pretty much it, which is a good value. But some platforms, they have more than one value, and they have different user personas, and each one of them uses for different things. So you see those kind of complex dashboards, like the CRMs, for example. Like, for example, HubSpot, they work with sales, with marketing, and there's a lot of funnels, there's a lot of properties, and they have different teams. The marketing team, the sales team work on it. So the onboarding, of course, for these kind of products will be different from onboarding with, let's say, one of Google Analytics, Google tools, like which you just simply, for example, put a URL and you get a report, right? And the onboarding process for this kind of tools would be easier. You can create simply like a simple wizard which tells them like insert the information needed, and according to that, you deliver them a value, which it can be 1, 2, 3 steps maximum. But when we have more complex dashboards, when we have independent values that can be delivered, it's better to think about what's the best onboarding, strategy to have. Is it to have a journey? So I'm welcoming my users, and then I am driving that journey step by step from zero to the value, and then leaving them the discovery. Or I want to make it mandatory, probably, so they should go through that journey. Is it I want to leave it more contextual? So I don't want to like directly automate things for them, but I want to leave them the sense of discovery. And this is generally what we recommend, is like, don't bombard your users with a lot of automated things, because again, think of the purpose of why you're doing this experience, which is like to help users have a better and easier experience with your product. So making it more complicated won't help. Now, it could be a free discovery. So for example, you might leave it a totally full discovery and use custom triggers, right? So you just highlight the features that you have. And when the users are clicking on something, you're trying to provide them some advice about what they are doing. If that might work, if you have a very clear dashboard that it doesn't actually need automated interaction with your users. So it differs. We generally say that we prefer the contextual onboarding and the less amount of steps needed. But when I think of it more, and when I see more of what our clients do and what the difference between products, actually, we can't say that one thing works for all. So thinking about your onboarding with your product team, with your UX teams, it would be great. And also, of course, according to our experience, we can help you with that if you want to have some sessions with us. Now, the other thing that you can do after defining your targets, building your strategy to define your targets and build your aha moments. So think of it now, what's the first values, what's the main values that can impress your users? And that's what we call the aha moment. The aha moment is when your users understand the core value of your product. And from there, they can dig more and they can dive more into what they can get as more extra features of your product, but impress them with this aha moment. So it's very clear to build your user onboarding around these targets and aha moments, so you can make sure that the users are impressed in a way or another, and they would like to have more engaging with you. I would like to ask you, by the way, what's the current methods that you are using for onboarding if you are not using user guiding? And do you feel that user onboarding will help your product? Like, are you depending more on the training sessions, or you're depending more on the knowledge base? What do you think one of your training materials are working best for you currently? So we talked about building the targets, but after having the targets, as I mentioned, you want to select now your activation points. And activation points will be built to achieve the targets. And highlighting those activation points that lead to the target is again important to let the users know how to use your product. And so in the future, it will be easier for them to achieve those targets again. So it's not only talking about the value, but guiding them through the steps that guide to that value. And when we create the examples now in a bit, we will also talk about that. After creating the main steps and activation points, so let's say we build our onboarding strategy, and we defined our targets, our values that we want to deliver in our first sessions, in our first week, and we started building actually defining our activation points. From there, we will have some final practices while we are building that onboarding to assure us that we are having interactive one. One thing is that we need to use minimum steps needed and what we call also minimum viable onboarding. So it should be very quick. This is important to know. That user onboarding should be quick, should be clear, should be straight to the point, and should be with shortest, steps needed. Because again, you are trying to make the experience easy. So don't make steps. I have some experience with some products where you log in and you have these sliders. So you get something welcome, then you next and it's another slider, and then next and it's another pop-up. It's like you're reading a newspaper. And they might think that this is helpful before you get into the real experience. But I'm sure that, at least for me and for what I'm experienced, most people don't prefer to read newspapers before diving into a real experience. So the onboarding should be intuitive and interactive. So the users should take action, not only read things or watch things, right? And the third thing is that you should analyze, adjust, and repeat. So it's important to, after you create the experience, not just to leave it, because this will be continuous and developing. So check your analytics, because the digital adoption platform provide analytics dashboards. So check how that materials are performing. Are they performing well? Is there some dropouts at some points, at some steps? You check the content is irrelevant, or it's pretty long. All these are important. I see Jeremy saying we don't use anything like user guiding today, therefore we have no point of reference, but we are planning to use. Yeah, great. Yeah, we have been in discussions on also, and I hope we will continue doing that. Yeah, we will start directly now jumping to the practical part, because we want to see that in action. We talked about the importance of onboarding, and I think it's getting more clear now. I'm seeing that there's more awareness of that, because the user onboarding comes with the topic of product adoption and then the product-led growth, right, topics, which are all important now in the digital world, where it's a very competitive market and you want actually to deliver what you do like very fast. People are getting unbelievably impatient when it comes to having experiences with new products. So you have a value, just deliver it as fast as possible. We're going to talk about we're going to create some contents and install the code and talk about the segmentation. And finally, we can talk about some of the frequent asked questions, and we can answer your questions meanwhile. I will also push a poll now, and it would be great if you can also participate with it. It's going to ask about which of the following would be great for you to increase by 100%. And I'm really excited to see your answers about this. Okay, I will jump directly now to the practical part. And we will start literally from scratch, right? So I will start with the creating a user guiding account, which is the free trial, and make sure that this is the same process that you will go with user guiding if you want to start your onboarding journey. So we're going to start having a free trial, which is 14 days, which we believe it's actually more than enough, because you can get the value in even the first 2 days. It's super quick. And then we will do the other steps, and we will push the content live to see how it looks like from an end user eye. So I'm going to just go there and say get started for free. And I will create my account. Say my name, Anas, and I will put user guiding, for example. I'm going to use user guiding for user guiding. And then I'm going to put just a random email, let's say userguiding.com. And then I'm going to use my password. Checking the polling results, see like 5 people answered like reducing support tickets. So yeah, actually I'm getting this a lot. I'm being more aware of that's one of the main targets that businesses are trying to achieve is to reduce the support. Like they want to save time. Saving time in business meaning saving money, because time costs money, and taking some burdens from the support team and from the development team is more precious than we can imagine. So that's totally understandable. Highlighting unused features, that's very like product adoption topic. It's very understandable also. And then the user onboarding. It's interesting that we see the user onboarding is the third one answered. But yeah, it's also understandable. So I'm putting a password now, and I am creating my trial account. Okay, so this is how you land on user guiding homepage. You say like, welcome to user guiding, and then we are targeting you to the checklist directly. So the checklist is here. We are also keeping this, that what we talked about is like the sense of discovery. Is like we don't automate everything, but we created the checklist, and when we say welcome, we welcome you with your name, and then we target you to the checklist where you can complete your task. Let's see what's the task that we need to complete and what's the aha moment that we are trying to deliver in user guiding, and we are going to be building similar thing on a sample dashboard. So first, you're signed up to user guiding, and we leave this as kind of encouragement that you have already done really like a good step by signing up, and it's made you now closer to achieving your value. And then we ask you to install the Chrome extension, because the Chrome extension will be your builder and the designer of your content, right? So I already, as you see here, I already installed the Chrome extension. So the cookie tracks that I installed the Chrome extension, so it's already completed on the checklist. And that's also an option to have, is that you can select goals for the guides inside the checklist, so you can keep track them more accurately, even if the users haven't seen the guides, right? Then we directly push you to create your first guide. So we don't tell you like the importance of product adoption and how beautiful and lovely your product will look after you make the guides and people will be interacting. No, we actually want you to see the value. So creating the guide we believe that will let you see the value, because when you create the guide, the second option, steps, as you can see, is that complete the integration, the installation, when you install the snippet code, which is the technical part, and then go live. And when you go live, we believe that we deliver the value here. So let's click on create the first guide. Our guide directly takes you to where you can create the guide, highlights the activation points. See, like it's 3 steps, super quick. Here you need to put the URL of that guide. So each guide starts with a URL, and from there it's a flow, and it can go across several pages, but it's important like to start, it's a flow from certain URL where users visit. Checking the chat, seems we have some questions. Yeah, it's an extension. Yeah, thank you, November, for the question. I will keep checking the chat. We will start building a welcoming guide, a congratulations guide. So I will take, this is the the playground now that we're going to be building our content. So I will copy this URL now, and I go back to my panel and I will paste it. And then I will start. So it will take me there. There's 2 options to start building your guide, either by this, but what we did from the panel, or you can directly come to the URL where you want to build that guide and trigger the Chrome extension and start building your guide. So let's say we want to call it directly congratulations. As you see, the Chrome extension is just the builder and the designer, so you can make sure that you preview your guides and they look fine, then you can come back to the panel and do all the further settings. The description will say welcoming people on board, or users, let's say, not people. Right? Then you can choose a theme. I'm not going to change the theme now, but just so you know, you can change the design of those pop-ups and tooltips and the guides directly from the theme. So it will be easier for you directly creating those presets for probably several use cases or several events, and you can choose the theme that you want to have for any of the guides. Then I will click create. and I have it empty now, and I will start building my steps. Here, it's going to be a congratulations, and it's on the home page. So there are presets that you can use for the pop-ups, take them as hints or build on top of them, right? But in this webinar now, I will build everything from scratch. So I will create from scratch, and I will see what I want to add in this, pop-up to welcome my users. I have some GIFs, like I will add a GIF here in this case, and I will add probably, let's start with text before the GIF actually, yeah. Let's start with the text, and let's say, congratulations. You have successfully signed up. So I didn't say welcome. We prefer to say congratulations. It's like directly there they have done some action. You have successfully signed up to user guiding, and you are so close or two-step close, whatever. I'm not gonna be so now, accurate about the text. So you can make the text that's more intuitive for you, but just to get the idea, to be impressed, let's say, with your first aha moments. Right? So then I will add some GIFs. So as we said, we want to make it somehow interactive, somehow funny, probably. So I will add this just as like we're welcoming our users. And then see, like in these components, you can add whatever I want, whatever you want, exactly as I'm doing. So do I want to add a video? I can simply add a video. I can add a text. I can edit those texts. So let me, for example, the congratulations, I'm going to make it bold and I'm going to make it bigger. Or not that big. Yeah, that will be enough. And then I will place them in the middle. So I will separate them and I will put it, nope. I will put it in the middle. Yeah. And then I will add the company logo. So I will add an image again. And by that, I will consider this as now as my welcoming guide, right? This is how I will tell them congratulations when they first land on the homepage. Here I can select what I want to appear on the screen. If I want them to interact with the background, with the page while this is present. All these are, possible options that you can do while you are, creating each step, right? So I will save it now. The design also gives you ability to increase the size of those pop-ups, decrease the size, backdrop shadow, you can cancel it. You can also enable a quit icon. Remember when we talked about you enable them to dismiss the guides or not. So if you don't want to enable them to dismiss the guides, you can simply just uncheck this, but we will enable them now, so we'll keep it. I saved it and I can preview my step. So it looks like that. So let's say it looks like nice to me, and I want to have this. I will keep it now, and I can simply go back. I can preview it or edit it whenever I want, and I can now create more guides. Right? So let's say like we thought about onboarding strategy, and we thought about what's the targets that we want to deliver, and we will start building guides according to that. Now we talked that we want to build something similar to what user guiding does in terms of the experience on the checklist. So we built a guide. I will build another guide that's, let's say, highlights some of the tasks that can lead to an aha moment. Let's say the first thing that users need to do is to verify their information, their login information. So we want to say, like, name the guide, verify your information here. And I give it a description. Actually, it doesn't need a description here. So there is no need to fill that part here. And I will choose the same theme. And I will start with a step. In this case, I will start with a model again, and I will build I will put a video, let's say. I want to show them what's the details of how they can, let's say, put their personal information. And so this is a part of the things that you can include. It would be good if you include some short videos, 30 seconds, 1 minute, also within your onboarding journey. Simply you can take the embed code of any video. So I will take it from YouTube here. This is just an example. So the content, it might be irrelevant. It's one of our videos in user guiding. So I will take it, copy it, and go back to the panel, to the Chrome extension, and I will paste it. Directly it previews inside the, the pop-up, and I will put a text. I will tell them, watch this 30 seconds video to learn more about your information verification. Just that, let's say, and I will save it. I'll preview it as a step. Looks nice. So they can watch the video directly from inside the, the pop-up. And then I will draw the activation points. So I will choose the tooltip. So there are three styles of steps: the tooltips, the models, and the input fields. The models is that the models, as you can see, the pop-ups where you can put any content inside them. Now the tooltips is where you are actually selecting an UI element to drive now users inside the whole action. So there are also presets. I will choose a click element because I want them to click on that button in order to proceed to the next steps. So I will choose click element and I will tell them go to the login page, right? And I will just delete this section and I will tell them just click on login. Here, I'm previewing my first step. I have two steps now, as you see here. And then my next step would be login. So I went to the login. You can proceed with building the guides now inside these steps, right? So we have two steps. I simply proceeded to the third page and I can build a new step. I will again choose a tooltip here and I will make it a click element. I will tell them just click on this section and start filling your information. So I will tell them fill all the information needed and click sign in. Or click save, click whatever the click that you can have and can, finish the action. And I can say now here for more details, check this article, just to show you how you can also add one of the, hyperlinks. You can add your articles. It would be a good practice actually to add some more information. So just simply, if they want to have more information, now they can go to the knowledge base. So we are including that in a smooth way within our onboarding material. So I'm choosing this and I'm copying that, confirm, save, and I will preview my guide from the beginning. It's taking me to the targeting, to where it starts. So this is our first step now. This is our second step, and this is our third step. And now the guide is done, right? So now we have two guides. I first welcome my users, then I want them to verify their information. Let's say I want to tell them lastly to monitor their users' information. After they, put some kind of information, we want to let them monitor their dashboard. So I'm going here to the users page, and I will build a new guide. I will go back and build a new guide and call it monitor user information or data, let's say. After that, we will arrange them inside the checklist. And after arranging them inside the checklist, we will check the segmentation and some personalization. Before that, I will push a third poll that it would be lovely from you if you can answer it, which asks you about what the analytics tools that you can use that's actually you are using to currently for collecting some data. That will help us also in terms of the integration topic. You got it now. So monitor your users. Description, there is no need. So you can say you can check your users' data. And then I will choose the same theme. I will create a step and I will start with a tooltip that tells them, here is your panel. Right? I click this. So we have two using Google Analytics and one mixed panel. Yeah, Google Analytics actually understandable that most of us use Google Analytics. Yeah, I will just say here, here you can check all your users' activity. And then I can add again whatever I want, right? But I am not gonna add anything here right now because I wanna make it quick and tell them where it's going to end. So it's now highlighting here. I will build more steps to take them to a certain user and let them edit their information so they can come back to the dashboard and see the data. So I will tell them now to click. I will choose a click element and choose one of the users. Let's say this. And I will say click to create a task. Let's keep it like this. I will preview. This is my first step, and this is my second step. And when I click now, it opens. I will create a new step. So this is how you use also the drop-down menus. It's like you open it, and then the Chrome extension will open again, and then when you choose any element from the drop-down menu. You can either choose one element, or you can choose the whole drop-down menu if you can, select it. I will choose go to profile and save, preview. So this is our first step. So let me cancel this first. First step, second step, clicking, third step, go to profile. Then let's say we want to build a final step here where we tell them fill all the information and click done, right? Fill all the information, click done. Now you can think of course, this is a sample dashboard, but the idea is you will think of what's the shortest steps that's leading them to them through some activation points to a target. And when we are arranging them, I'm gonna arrange them now in the checklist, you will see how they will make more sense in order. So you can think now while we are talking, what's the activation, what's the best order that you can arrange your tasks in? So fill the information and click save or click done on the tooltip itself, right? And I will allow interaction with the highlighted area here because I will keep the tooltip appearing, and while it's appearing, it could give them whatever the information it is, they are taking action with the step. So preview, I will preview my guides from the beginning. So this is our first element. This is our second element. Third element, go to profile. And then they're filling the information here as you see, while the tooltip is still appearing because I chose the normal style, the create from scratch, not the click element. If I chose the click element, if I click on anything here, the tooltip will disappear because it understands that it's click and it should proceed to the second step. And I allowed interaction with the highlighted area so they can fill the information while this is present. So let's say I filled all the information and I clicked on done. I have the 3 guides now, but it's just a preview right now. And I want to now make them live. So let's go back to our panel, go to the guides, and I see, oh, these are the 3 guides that I created. Not using any of these analytics currently. None. Guides that I created. Not using any of these analytics currently. None. Okay. So we did create the first guide. See, so our checklist is checked marked because it's tracking what's the activity that we are doing. So now it's telling us complete the installation. So see now, think of it if you're a user of UserGuiding, when you're creating the guide and come back to the panel, you will see what you need to do. So we completed this task and we will complete the integration. This is our guide. It's similar to one of the ones that we built now on the playground. Shows you a video, tells you what the integration is about, just to let you understand the concept, then drives you through the activation points. Just click on the container, show, copy. It tells you to copy this container code and paste it on the section of your source code. So the process is like this. This is the only thing needed for you to go live. The technical implementation is actually super easy. It's like you're going to the settings, to the container, which you will have a unique one for your account. You can copy it from here, just place it on the head section of your source code, and we can use Google Tag Manager for that. We will do it actually right away now together. So I will copy this code now, and I will go to Google Tag Manager, my Google Tag Manager account, and you have your old rights, your old domains. So I will choose, I will go to the tags, and I will choose my playground, and I will see that there's the HTML. So you can, if you don't have one, you can create a custom HTML. So you create a custom HTML and you add the snippet code here. Here I have an already existing one. I will simply delete it and place the new one. So I placed my code here. You can exclude some pages. So it's all for all pages now. If you want to calculate your monthly active users more accurately, I will talk about the monthly active users in a bit, how they are calculated in the FAQ part. But you can exclude some pages from here in order to not allow the code to be triggered if in case like you don't need to create content there, so you can be more efficient with your calculation. I will save it now and I will submit. Publish. Continue. Right, so it should be published now. I'm gonna go back to my panel. Complete the installation. Let's check on our playground. I can check also for the code if it exists here or if it doesn't. So let's see what's the ID in there. I will go to the container, check what's the ID. The container ID is 5ID. So I went to the inception, to the sources, static, and yeah, 5ID. So it's already embedded now. So now I have the code now embedded. The only mission that I need to do, I can also check from the containers. See, the code embedded is checked marked now. When it's checked marked, you can now push your guides live. So now we are done with the technical part. That's pretty much it. Now I can go to any of my guides and directly now put them live. So I will do that by going to my fourth guide, which tells me go live. And you can simply go to one of the guides here. So the installation is completed and I will go live. It again takes me to the guides, to the settings where I can activate any guide. Let's activate our guides, right? Let's activate our first guide, our congratulations guide. I will go to the settings and I will click on active and save. When you do anything, something went wrong. Let me refresh the page. So when you do anything like either pushing a new guide live or making changes on your guides in the future, please make sure that you click on publish changes, because that will send all the changes that you make automatically to the servers. Okay, now the guide is updated as an active and I will publish the changes. Then I will go back to my playground and see if I will see my guides or not. I will refresh my page. And I can see my guide now live, as you can see. So simply that's like now, how long we have been, like 10 minutes. You can by 10 minutes actually create an experience to interact with your users. And by the way, this is something we recommend. It's like you don't need to have everything set in order to push the experience. If you can, just slowly, like step by step, start engaging with your users, and because this is something that's going to be continuous and you're developing. So we created this guide now, and we have 3 guides. Before making them live, I'm going to add them to a checklist. So I'm going to go to a checklist, click on new checklist, and scroll down and arrange my guides inside it. So the first one I want to have is congratulations, and I will add a guide. The second one is verify your information. This is how it's going to look. The third guide is going to be monitor your data, right? So the monitor your data is the third one, and I will unlock items in order. So they need to finish them one by one. This is optional. If you think the order is matters, you can just check it or uncheck it. Then I will choose the targeting. Like each guide or each content in UserGuiding has targeting where it should appear. So for the guide, it's where it starts its flow. And for the others, it's where it appears. For example, for the checklist area, where do you want this widget to appear across which pages? So I want it to appear across all my pages, across all my experience. So I'll go to the targeting and I can put contains. So I don't want it to equal to something. I will put contains and I will take playground.userguiding.com, right? And I can change its design from here, but I will keep it now the default. You can change the launcher image, whatever you want. And then I will save it. And I will publish the changes. So now we have a checklist. So let's preview again and see if it's going to appear. Okay, let me check back. Okay, I didn't set it active actually. Yeah, I will set it again and publish the changes. Okay, let's see now. See, like we have the checklist now live. So my users now can see my checklist. Let's see what's inside this checklist. See, there is only one guide. Even I put 3 guides inside it. Now, we might ask, why is that? Because only one guide is live, right? I activated the checklist live and activated one guide live, but the others are still inactive. So I will need to go and activate those guides as well. So put them active and save them. And go to the second guide, put it active and save it. And then I will click on publish changes. And now let's see if we're going to see them. One other thing that we can do is that when we create those guides, now we put the congratulations first. One of those options that the custom trigger. So there's automatically trigger or custom triggers. Now see, those guides are 3 of them are automatically triggered, and we created them on the same URL. This will cause conflict, so they will not appear. So because I will trigger them from the checklist, I will put the other 2 ones on the custom trigger. Because when my users are landing, I want to automate the congratulations one only, but the other ones, I want the users to click from the checklist. I don't want to spam them with the other ones also automatically. So I will go there, I will scroll down, and I will put the trigger to off. And because I put them on the checklist, they will be triggered by the checklist. I will go to the other guide and do the same. Scroll down, auto trigger, save, and now we have them. I will click on publish changes. Then I will delete now the cache memory. So we will see the site memory. So we will see them how the experience will look from the beginning. So this is our first guide now. And when I click OK, I have my checklist now. I still can't see them. Yeah, we have this. Okay, now I can see them. This is my first guide. Now, congratulations. See, it's already completed. So when they click on done, it will be already completed, which will encourage them like they feel they already done some progress. Let's add a touch here that will make it more actually intuitive. It's like I'm going to the first guide. See if you want to edit any guide. I'll go to the congratulations, click on edit, and I'll preview this step. How about we actually highlight the checklist for them so it will be more clear. So I'll click on tooltip, add the second step to this guide, and highlight the checklist. And I will tell them here, you can complete your tasks. Finish me, and you will be impressed. This is a part of like, try to make your sentences a bit funny, just to give them this a bit of like intuitive. So like this, and let's preview our guide now. This is my first guide, this is my second guide. How does that look? Then they will see that they completed the congratulations. They have 2 more tasks to do, which are live now. We already activated them. Now I will go back to my panel and publish changes. Why? Because I changed something in the guide, but it's still not live. So I'll click on publish changes. I will come back now and reset the experience and see how it's going to look like. Let's refresh. This is my first now one, this is my second, and it tells me I have 2 tasks to complete. See, like it will be very clear for users actually now to deal with your product, like because you're directly telling them what they need to do. They will come and click here. I show them a video about what they should do. And when they click next, I'm targeting them through the activation points. When they finish this guide, when they finish this information, their second guide is completed now, as you see. Now the checklist is marked. Now I will go to the third guide now, and they will need to complete their tasks from there. This is their first step, their second step, their third step, and their fourth step. And now it's done. Their checklist is completed. Now, let's say that you built this and you delivered now an aha moment, a value from that. How easier it will be for them now to go through this. How about now we think about adding something more, playing with the segmentation a bit. I will say that if they finish their last guide from the checklist, I want to create a reward guide and refer them to some resources. Let's do that. I will go to the guide now. I will go to the segments first. I will click on new segment and I will give it a name that's reward, let's say, or let's say checklist finished, let's say. This is how you create your segments. And we have preset attributes that you can use, or you can add custom attributes. So I will choose the guides now attribute because I'm building guides conditions after each other. You can use the cookie, the browser language, whatever, but this process is the same. It's like you're having attributes, you're setting your conditions. And I will say is completed. And I will select the guide that is completed, which is our last guide, monitor your data. Now I have my segment ready. I will go back now to my guide that I will assign. I will create and I will assign it to this segment. Let's go back directly now, this time from the panel and build it. I will create this guide, call it reward, let's say, and give it a description, checklist, finished. Choose the theme, create, build from scratch. See now the process is easy. It shouldn't be complicated. I'm choosing an image. Let's say I choose this GIF. Tells them like, yay, you completed your checklist. And then I will add a text and I will tell them, wow, like you're on fire. And now you can check our resources. And now let's say you can, by the way, from this point, you can proceed with many ways. You can create a help center that you can target them to, or you can simply leave them free, or just leave hotspots and let them, click on something. So let's just not put anything now. Let's just tell them, congratulations, contact us if you need any support, for example. From these channels, you can add the hyperlinks, blah, blah, blah. And then I will save this. I don't want to spend more time in the design because it's now more clear. And I will go back to my panel. Oops, I have my new guide, right? How about now the targeting of that guide? I want this guide to trigger in a segmentation condition when the checklist is finished. But I want it to trigger not on the home page, because remember that our last guide was finished in another page. So to avoid the conflict in the targeting, I want to say, by the way, you can even put some simple conditions. Like I will say like not contains anas, right? And all the pages don't contain anas. So it will be triggering according to the segmentation condition. I will choose a custom segment now, seeing the segmentation part. Our other guides were for all users. Whenever you want to select your audience, you choose custom segment and you choose the segment that you build, right? Then I will save it. Did we activate it? No, so let's activate it. And let's publish the changes. And let's see now how our experience looks like. Great. So I will go to the application and delete. Lovely. So this is how it starts. Our first step, second step. I will complete my tasks. This is my first task. I watched the video. I went there. I finished my second task. My third task is waiting. This is my first step, my second step, my third step, my fourth step, and last. And oops, I have my new guide, right? Now it didn't trigger automatically. It doesn't exist in the checklist. It does exist only according to a certain condition. And this can be, you can think of the probabilities that you can use these kind of guides in a contextual manner, right? Either when you have something, a cookie, let's say you use the cookie, right? For adding, like, let's say when the users create a project in your platform, and because they create a project, you want now to push them a notification that drive them to the next action. Because this is what contextual onboarding means. So now I use the guide attribute because I want to build it according to a guide that has an action. So now it's triggered and they can click on done. And I can leave them now the sense of discovery. They can go and discover, for example, let's say I delivered them the first value, or you can use hotspots also to trigger something. Let's quickly create a hotspots. The hotspots are pretty useful in terms of highlighting new features or events. Like when we had this webinar, we released a hotspot on one of our most used buttons. So the users simply can hover over it. And we got actually a good number of registrations. Actually, I think from the panel more than any other channels, which is, you can think of it as using it as an, in product marketing channel. So I'm creating feature and I'm building a new hotspot. It's the same exact process of creating guides. Let's say I will choose a new feature model I will have this new feature and I'll build it here. I will choose the beacon style. I will give it a pulse animation. You can change its style and the size of it. Let's preview it. So it will look something like that. I can reposition it also directly from here. So I can make it, reposition it to make it look good. Change the color, change the size, all these are possible. Let's want to make it big and save it. And I can simply now go to the panel, see it, activate it, push it to my users. I see it here. I can go active. The targeting again, where do you want this to appear? Mostly the hotspots, they appear across all pages, or depends actually on the design of your product. Let's say our golden condition not contains an us, right? So that should appear everywhere and publish changes. I will go now back and I will see. So I have my hotspot now live to my users. You can use it for whatever like you want, new features or providing more information about existing features. We created a journey, like I think in less than 20 minutes. I'm not sure if it took us more than that, but we created an actually full journey now. We welcomed our users. We congratulated them for signing up to our platform. We created a checklist and arranged tasks for those users. We made sure that the targeting is right. We're publishing changes when we ever make any changes. We are well with the design on the Chrome extension. We are previewing everything before reflecting that to our users. And I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It shouldn't be very complicated. You may make it more intuitive, more segmented later. We use now only single segmentation condition to help us reward our users. But I mean, as a start, it can be simple and then you can continuously improve it. Even here, we can add something to a custom attribute to welcome our users with their names. And this is a part of the custom attributes option that we have from the segmentation. See, we talked about the preset attributes that we have that you can directly use. You can also share any kind of data that you have from your side with user guiding, give it access to user guiding. It could be from these data sources, cookie or user guiding or Google Tag Manager or global JavaScript or browser local storage, and choose an identifier for that attribute and the data format. And think of the probabilities that that can give you. It could be like the date of sign up, the numbers of login, the I don't know, the types of users, the language of users. We are using this a lot in our user guiding panel, and you can also use the same. We have a lot of clients using them, especially for the differentiating between the roles of users and the language part and the dates as well, actually. So let's add one now. I will, just for testing now, I will add a cookie now manually to my browser local storage. So I'll go to application, to my local storage, to playground user guiding, and I will call it username. And I will call it Anas. Right, this is the process. So I will go to my panel to custom attributes, add a new attribute. What's the identifier? Username. And what's the data format? It's text and the browser local storage. I save it. I have it now. Now, I want to go to the congratulations because I will add these personalization attributes there. I will go to the extension, congratulations guide. The first step was, right? So I will go to edit the first step and here click and add personalization. See here, there's the personalization where you can add the attribute. I didn't see it here yet. Let's refresh. Did I save it? Let's make sure. Yes, I saved it. Great. So let's check again. Congratulations. Yeah, I got it here. So I will insert this user attribute and I can insert also a fallback text. Let's not insert the fallback text because when we say congratulations, it doesn't make sense to say something if it's not the name actually. So let's just keep it like that and insert it and save it. And now I saved it. Now I made the change, right? What we should do after the change, I should go and make publish changes. I will go to the congratulations guide first, settings. Did I make any changes here? Not really, actually, because this is a custom attribute. I directly added. So I'll just need to click publish changes in this case. Yes. Just publish changes, and let's see now how it's going to look. Go to the application and clear storage. And clear storage. I still couldn't see it. For some reason, let me see. It's added right username. Because I reset. Because I reset my storage. Let me make it trigger always. Because I'm resetting my memory. It's deleting the attribute from the local storage. So I will make it trigger always to make sure that we still have it. Publish changes. Let me add the attribute again. It should be deleted now, so we will add it again. See, like it's deleted because I reset the memory. And I will click on this. And now refresh. See, like we have congratulations, Anas. We have full journey. I know that we ran out of time. We have 1 hour. We'll take just five minutes also to take about the Q&As. We have a full journey now. We created guides. We created the hotspots. We personalized the experience. We use segmentation also to make reward or to make contextual onboarding after the users doing some certain action. We highlighted our aha moment. What's the first action? What's the second? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions now, please let me know. I hope this session was insightful for you guys. And I will share right now my also calendar link. So in case you have any questions or you want to have further discussion, you can book a call with me from here so we can personally talk about your case. And after this webinar, if you have more any questions or you opened your mind about some ideas that you want to do, ask me about, you can just book a call with me from this link. Other than that, I think we covered the practical part of the experience. There's, of course, a lot of other things that you can do. If there's a question comes to us generally about how we calculate our monthly active users, and the answer for that is that monthly active users are calculated according to the browser sessions. Each browser, unique browser session, it's calculated once a month, within a month, as a unique monthly active user. And if you do the user identification, which Jonathan asked me about, it will solve you two issues. The first one is like, if they delete their cache memory, we will still be able to track their progress. And also we will be able to calculate the monthly active user more accurately, because it's not about the browser session now, it's about the user ID itself. And this also would help you, will get some more analytics. I now want to take more of your time. I hope that was insightful. We will send you the record for sure. And welcome, Audrey. And I hope to also talk to you in person, each one of you, about your experience, what you're trying to achieve. And we will see you hopefully in other events. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice one.